Hi everyone, welcome to Nature's Way of Healing. My name is Dr. Kareen Hall Brown, and today we will be looking at the digestive system.
The purpose of this video is to promote the understanding and knowledge of various health topics. It's not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition or treatment before undertaking a new healthcare regimen. And never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of anything you have watched here.
Now, we will be looking at what the digestive system is, its importance, the way it works, and we will also look at how to care for our digestive system. Now, we're going to go straight into our video or into our presentation on what the digestive system is. Now, what is it really? The digestive system is nothing but a tube. It's really a tube that extends from your mouth to your anus. And just like this tube like this is a stocking, but this is what it is. This is what it kind of looks like with many stops on the way down. Okay? Now, so that's what the digestive system is. Now, why is the digestive system important? It is among the most important organs or organ system in our body. Now, the digestive system is what fuels all the other organs or all the other system within our body. If there was no digestive system, there will be no energy, there will be no fuel. So it provides fuel for the entire body to function. Now, the next thing that we're looking at is how the digestive system works. Now, I just want to use these equipment that I use generally in the kitchen to demonstrate how it works. There are several parts to the digestive system. And when I thought about this presentation, I thought about how a food processor works. Now, the food processor will be tantamount to your mouth. How the mouth works in breaking up stuff. So our food processor breaks up stuff into smaller pieces. And once it's broken up into smaller pieces, now what it does, it breaks them up mechanically, and I'm going to get some vegetables like I would normally eat, and I'm going to put it in our food processor. And the food processor is going to make it into smaller pieces. It doesn't make it into a liquid, it makes it into smaller pieces so that it can go all the way. Okay, so this is our mouth, which breaks up things mechanically. And that's what it does. So the process of mechanical digestion occurs in the mouth, which means you break it up into small pieces, and also chemical digestion starts in the mouth. So our food processor is just breaking up these mixed vegetables into smaller pieces. So we get in smaller pieces, and that's in essence what you're doing when you chew your food. So you chew your food and you make it into very small pieces, okay? And once you make what you eat into small pieces, it travels along the esophagus. This is an extension from the mouth. And before it travels, the tongue inside of your mouth will form this into a ball. Call it a bolus, small ball, and it pushes it into the esophagus. And the esophagus pushes it along until it empties into the stomach. And we're using our blender for the stomach. It pushes it in, and the process by which it pushes it down is called peristalsis. And this is automatic. So it means that if you were to turn upside down and try to swallow something, it would still push right down into your stomach. So the broken pieces empties into the stomach, and that's what happened. So it empties into our stomach, and our stomach, as we have it, has a liquid within the stomach. So it is transported from here into a ball and it empties into the stomach. So there's a liquid in the stomach, and that liquid is called hydrochloric acid. Now, our mouth is usually very alkaline, and by nature our mouth is alkaline. It has saliva amylase in it, starts the digestion of starch in your mouth. Now, once the food gets into the stomach, which is exactly what the blender does, it breaks it up into something very soupy and slimy. So the hydrochloric acid, which is within the stomach, breaks down the food into smaller pieces. So it's almost a liquid when it gets to the stomach. So, and this would be our hydrochloric acid in the stomach. And here we have a little bit of hydrochloric acid, as we would call it. But what the stomach does is create a soupy, smooth liquid. That's exactly what the stomach does. And this is what our blender will do. Break it up so you can't see any distinction in color. So our blender make it into a very fine paste. They call this chime. So it's broken down into small pieces. They're very small. The muscles of the stomach is it is very strong. So it is a mix. It consistently mixes the food. So once it's mixed up here, and remember the stomach is acidic. It is very acidic, which usually the acidity of the stomach ranges between 2 and 3. So the mouth is alkaline, the stomach is acidic by nature. If your stomach is not acidic, it means that your digestive process is not occurring correctly. So within the stomach, we have starch digestion continues, but more so we have the beginning of protein digestion, because pepsin is released in the stomach, and then fat kind of mixing with everything, but the process of fat digestion does not take place until we move to the small intestine, or in the duodenum as it is called. So the duodenum, when this liquid gets into the duodenum, what happens here is that the final process of digestion will occur. So we're going to have our starch, our protein, our fats, and all the other minerals will be finally broken down and be absorbed. So the liver, as we have it, will release what we call bile. And bile emulsifies fat and breaks the fat down. It makes it into a soapy liquid. Okay, so that is one digestive enzyme that is released from the liver. And we also have insulin, which is also released in the small intestine, and all the other enzymes like maltase and fructase that break down the final breakdown of starch in a small intestine. And this is where it is absorbed. Now, food stays in the stomach for 4 hours roughly after we consume it. And then it goes in the small intestines, where it stays for another 4 to 6 hours. And the small intestine, interestingly, is 22 feet long. So it is very long, and the surface area of the small intestine looks more like a rag or a towel. Now, this is where our blood vessels are intertwined with the villi. The villi is like the strand of yarn that makes up the towel. So the strand of yarn that makes up the towel, it is like a rag. This is what it looks like. And then you have the blood vessels that's intertwined here. And these blood vessels are where the nutrients that's in the food that we consume diffused into the blood, and then it is transported throughout the body. So the small intestine food stays here for a very long time, and also the surface area is very, very huge for absorption of nutrients. So nutrients is absorbed here and it goes into the bloodstream. Now all the roughage and the other things that we did not digest will go straight into our large intestine. And the large intestine has a way of extracting the extra liquid. So water is extracted. Most water is reabsorbed in the large intestine. And once it's reabsorbed in the large intestine, the fiber and all the other parts that we cannot digest and is not able to digest goes right through the rectum. And we pass those out as excretes or fiber that we did not digest. Okay, so that's the process. That's how we break down food and how food is eliminated or ejected from our body. So that's the process of how the digestive system works. Now, how do we care for the digestive system? Now, within our digestive system, as we mentioned earlier, there are enzymes that propel the entire system and enable it to function effectively. Now, our bodies produce enzyme or is stimulated to produce enzyme if we are nourished properly, for starting. So eating the right food, which provides us with high levels of minerals. So we need minerals such as calcium, magnesium, potassium. These minerals are critical, crucial for the production of digestive enzyme. So when we're consuming things like dates, which is high in potassium, we're consuming things like bananas. Those are helping in the stimulation of the production of enzymes, which will help in the digestive process. Now, the calcium, which helps in the digestive process as well. It's very critical that we consume enough foods like sesame seeds that is high in calcium. We take in broccoli. We take in things like cauliflower. Those things will, and pak choy, those are high in calcium, and those will help to stimulate our digestive enzyme. So our nutrition plays a very critical role in enabling the digestive process to occur efficiently. Now, exercise is something that we might take for granted, but exercise is very crucial, and that is why we practice to do digestive walk. After we consume our meals, we take digestive walk. And digestive walk is a simple way of stimulating the production of digestive enzymes. And that helps to stimulate the production of more insulin, which is needed to regulate the blood sugar level. Because almost everything that we consume has some level of sugar in it once it's broken down. So we need to do some form of activity after we eat instead of just sitting down on a couch and watching TV. The exercise actually help in the digestive process for those people who have constant indigestion. Now, exercise is a way of supporting your body and enabling the digestive process to occur more efficiently. And not just the initial part of the digestive process, but the entire process from the beginning to the end when food is leaving the body. When undigested food, the fiber is leaving the body. If we don't consume food which is high in fiber, we are going to have an issue where we become constipated. So including high fiber in our diet is also very, very critical. Exercise also helps to propel things in the colon, because sometimes what you find is that some of us, our colon, our transverse colon, have a tendency to collapse. And when this collapses, it becomes very lazy. The food or the undigested food or fiber takes a very long time to pass through the colon, and sometimes what will happen, they will get locked in the walls of the colon, and if it's locked in the walls of the colon, it stays there, and it could cause your body to become more contaminated because it's diffusing into our cells, and once it's going in the bloodstream, it starts making the entire body become toxic. Some people suffer from halitosis and stuff like those, and we will get into those variables. Now, ensuring that we consume a diet that has high level of vitamin C, and for every single disease that we look at, you will notice that vitamin C will come up. It will always come up, because if we're consuming a diet that diet predominantly that is dead, which it means that most of what we consuming is cooked, you're going to find that your food will not have vitamin C, because vitamin C cannot withstand heat. So you're going to be deficient if you're not taking in vitamin C from sources that are not cooked, like your lemon juice or your orange juices, your pineapple. So your fruits will provide you with your vitamin C that you need. Now, drinking water. Water, it is so critical that we consume water, because water is the solvent. It's the solvent. You could take all the minerals from everywhere else, but if you're not taking in water, which is the solvent, which will dissolve everything, which will help in the production of the digestive enzyme, and in the production of, or just to make your blood more thin so that it could go to the areas where you need nutrients, then your blood is going to be too thick to carry the nutrients that you get from the food to places like your heart, that has very, very small capillaries that carries the nutrients to the extended areas where they need them. So we must consume enough water. Water to dilute the fiber so it doesn't get stuck in the walls of the colon. Water for every single thing, for the production of saliva, for the production of hydrochloric acid, for the production of everything, to flush our system. We need to drink water, which is critical. Now, sunlight is also very important, because if we're not getting enough sunlight, we won't be able to absorb our calcium that we are taking in some of our foods. We don't get calcium from sunlight. We get vitamin D from sunlight. And vitamin D and calcium work like a married couple together. And when one is missing and the other is present, they don't work. So that sunlight is critical. Or fresh air. Or fresh air, we just came out of the series where we look at the respiratory system, and we talk about fresh air, which is critical. But we take in air. If we're not getting any fresh air, and our oxygen is not there, the digestive process can never be completed, because we need that oxygen in order for the metabolic functioning to occur. Remember, we need oxygen for respiration, and respiration is the primary process by which our body utilizes energy, or make energy for that matter. So the food we eat would be useless to our body if we never had oxygen get it into our system. So oxygen in our system is critical. It's crucial for us to utilize any kind of food that is digested via the digestive system and absorbed into the body. So we need all of those, and temperance. Temperance, when it comes to eating, is something that cannot be overemphasized, because we have a tendency to eat, and we just eat consistently because food is available. And too much of anything, regardless of what it is, it's never good for our bodies. We don't need half the food that we consume. We just need food to sustain our bodies. We get more energy from eating less food because our body has to work so hard to break this food down when we eat excess. Okay, if you notice, when you eat excess of anything, your body gets tired, because all the energy that you need to think, to process, will move from your brain to your stomach to aid in the digestive process. So we don't need to be eating in too much of any food or too much of anything. So we need to be temperate in all that we do. Okay, so in taking care of your digestive system, there are many issues that we're confronted with, and there are natural remedies. But if we were to eat consistently, and we are eating another way, we don't eat. We eat our breakfast, and then we eat 5 hours after. Because one of the reasons why we need to take at least 5 hours. Now, when we consume a meal, let's say breakfast, for example, we eat our breakfast. The breakfast that we eat stays in our stomach for at least 4 hours. Now, 4 hours of that food in our stomach, it's probably lunchtime. Lunchtime, if we do eat a good breakfast, we don't need lunch. We need 5 hours in between our meals in order for effective digestion to occur. So we should practice to eat our one meal and then 5 hours after, regardless of how we choose to do it. Because once we consume another meal in between that time frame, so if it's not 5 hours and we consume another meal right there, it's going to disrupt the digestive process of what's occurring in our stomach. And when that process is disrupted, then we start having fermentation and flatulence because the food starts fermenting. If you should do a test, you will find that you have a lot of alcohol in your system because of that fermentation. And that's what happens when we eat in between meals. Okay, when we eat, we should never eat and drink at the same time. We should always isolate our meals, and we consume our meals. We drink our liquid 2 hours before we eat or 2 hours after. And the reason why we do this is because when we eat and drink at the same time, we are diluting the digestive enzymes within our stomach. And diluting this digestive enzyme is hampering the digestive process. Okay, so make it a rule that you do not eat and drink at the same time. You could drink for a meal, and that when you're drinking for, let's say you're taking juices, you could drink juices every hour, because that's very different, because there is not any fiber in juice that your body has to work on. But if you're eating a meal that is consistent with fiber and all the different groups, then you want to just eat and not drink at the same time. Okay, so here we are talking about the digestive system. Now, these are all pointers that you need to bear in mind in order to take care of one of the most important organs within our body. Now, this brings us to the end of this segment of the digestive system. This was the overview. We looked at what it was, how it works, and its importance. Now, I have a question for you. Now, the question is, what part of the digestive system is most acidic? Okay, and why is this section, why is it important that this section is acidic? Now, give us a thumbs up if you like this video clip, and thank you very much for watching Nature's Way of Healing. And I'll see you in our next segment.